episode of News for You. Today is July 14th, 2026, and my name is Olympia Justice. I am with South Dakota Voices for Peace, and we'll just get right to it. But before I do that, I do want to thank you for your support, and another way that you can always support us is by liking all our videos and our posts and by sharing them far and wide so that this information gets to more people who might benefit from knowing what we share here at News for You. Today, I want to talk about why knowing our constitutional rights is important when it comes to immigration enforcement. We here at News for You have covered for the state of South Dakota what is called Operation Prairie Thunder and why it is immigration enforcement in the state of South Dakota since its inception in the summer of 2025. So they've been at it for a year with this specific Operation Prairie Thunder, okay? So we here at News for You have been informing the community about our constitutional rights since we started News for You at South Dakota Voices for Peace and the South Dakota Dream Coalition. We started News for You at the beginning of 2025. You can always go back and watch all the episodes of News for You on our YouTube channel or going to our website at sdvfpeace.org, or you can just Google South Dakota Voices for Peace and go to our website and you will find our News for You episodes. One of the most comprehensive episodes that we did is from 6 months ago, in which immigration lawyer Tamiza Islam and I explain what impact Operation Prairie Thunder is having in our state and our therefore impacted communities. And we also explore how this method from law enforcement or immigration enforcement that they are going. We also talked about it with immigration lawyer Dana Boras, how they are going door to door in some communities, and in South Dakota with the saturation patrols. Every month we talk about saturation patrols. They go car by car. How that is not considered a constitutional way to search or detain people because of the absence of a judicial warrant. There's the absence of a judicial search warrant in this process. And we also talk in that episode from 6 months ago with immigration lawyer Tamiza and I about how our tax money is paying for this enforcement activity through the highway patrol, and little or no money coming back from the federal billions of dollars that ICE has been given by Congress. Very little is coming back. For example, in the month of June, just last month, news outlets in the state reported that South Dakota was receiving $150,000 only after the governor touted having detained 800 immigrants in the year since Operation Prairie Thunder started. So ICE has been given over $140 billion, and South Dakota is getting $150,000. Now, 287G agreements. Okay, so 287G, they're called 287G agreements because they were created under Section 287G of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, okay, which is the law that is supposed to oversee DHS and ICE activities, okay? So, at 287G agreement, these agreements are not forced on local law enforcement. They are entered into voluntarily between a local agency and the Department of Homeland Security, or ICE. This means that our governor and the counties who have also signed agreements for their sheriff departments in South Dakota, our governor signed the highway patrol up for this, okay? And I must clarify that the Sioux Falls local city police have not signed this type of agreement. So local police officers have not been deputized or trained by ICE to do immigration enforcement. I need to make this clear because there is a misconception in the community that this is the case, and it is not true, okay? I must also emphasize that ICE/DHS, so ICE or the Department of Homeland Security, have always, and we've said this often here in News for You, they have always had officers in South Dakota. However, what is new is that earlier this year, news also was reported that they would open 2 additional satellite offices, one in Huron and one in Mitchell. So that was reported by news outlets. And it has also been reported since last year in the news here in the state, you can Google it, that there has been an increase in the number of officers for ICE or DHS in South Dakota. So this is happening alongside the 287G agreement, under which last summer, five officers were trained under the 287G agreement, 5 state patrol or troopers, highway patrol officers were trained last summer. But this summer, the governor in May announced that 41 more highway patrol officers were going to be trained under the 287G agreement. Okay? Now, let us also keep in mind that South Dakota, according to the Governor's Office of Economic Development, has a population of 924,669 people. It ranks 46th in population among the 50 states in the United States. And the website usafacts.org lists the Hispanic population in South Dakota at 5.4% of the state, compared with 20% nationally. The non-Hispanic Black or African American population at 2.5% in South Dakota, which is below the national 12.6%, and the non-Hispanic American Indian and Alaska Native people at 7.6%, which is higher than the national share of 0.72%. While the vast majority identifies as non-Hispanic white, and that is 80% of the population of South Dakota, which is compared to 57.5 nationally for non-Hispanic white population. Why is all of this relevant today? What news should we be paying attention to? What does this have to do with our constitutional rights? And why do we here at News for You keep talking about our constitutional rights? Why is it important to have safety and preparedness plans? In the last 6 days, we have faced 2 more reports about immigration agents killing 2 of our own in Texas and Maine, as well as other news reports of violent arrests of other people in Virginia, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Tennessee, just in the last week. We are a minority in the state of South Dakota, and we are being targeted. That is a fact. Whether we are here with legal status or without status, all people are protected by the Constitution, and no one should be targeted by racial profiling or violence. We keep talking about our rights, and we want everyone to learn about them because knowledge reduces harm and empowers communities. We are convinced of that here at South Dakota Voices for Peace and at News for You. And personally, as a member of the community, I want us to be more powerful and stronger. Knowing and asserting our rights also upholds our dignity and our personhood, which is exactly what those rights protect. I must also say that the burden of asserting our rights should not fall on the community. But this is where we find ourselves today. So by sharing the right information, we spread more education, and education is power, my friends. So people also in the last week have asked me, what is the point of telling me what my rights are if they no longer care, they are harming us? And to this I want to answer what we also said in our episode 6 months ago here in News for You, is that when we do not assert our rights, we are tacitly or silently consenting to having them violated. So we have to resist. They win when we stay silent, and when we leave, so to say, without a fight, okay? They win when we are tired. They win when we give up. And they is any oppressive or any authoritarianism or any oppressive form of government or law enforcement. So I also need to say that if you are detained right now in the state of South Dakota, yes, it is highly likely that you may eventually be deported. But you can still assert your right to remain silent and to not answer unnecessary questions or to sign documents that would take away even more protections under the law. And this, by you asserting your rights, it creates a record that could become evidence when there is litigation. And there will be litigation. It is already happening. When these cases are argued in the federal courts, the resulting settlements or judgments or rulings give people more protections in the long run, okay? In the long term. So that is why we must take this seriously. We must be serious. And even if our voice shakes and our body trembles, we must assert our right to remain silent, our right not to consent to a search. We must speak up when there is no judicial warrant. And we must clearly state that we will not sign anything without having had the opportunity to discuss it with an attorney or a lawyer. We here at South Dakota Voices for Peace have had reports from community members who did exercise their rights, and the state troopers let them go. So it is possible to emphasize that one has the right to remain silent and not answer questions. So my friends, we must also face the reality. We must also face reality. And we must be proactive. We must have our powers of attorney prepared to protect our families and our property. We must have the difficult conversation with our children about what is happening, because they hear and see everything and they are smart people. We owe it to them, okay? And finally, we need to keep showing up. We are hardworking people. We are people who love deeply. We are hard-loving people. We are resilient, and we need to keep supporting each other, or we need to start supporting each other if we're not. And for our allies, the message is the same. I want you to understand that we are afraid, regardless of our immigration status, and that hate or hatred is real and it's ugly, but kindness and support mean a lot right now. And they've always meant a lot. So please, let's not ignore that we all are protected under the law, even when it seems that it doesn't mean anything, that it's not important. It means everything, and it is very important. Please stay safe. If there is a saturation patrol in your county, don't drive, or find another route. And friends, please don't drink and drive. Don't drive under the influence of drugs. That is just a good way to protect all of us. So please like and share, like I said, our videos. And please also visit our website if you have it within your possibility to make a donation to News for You. I thank you for being here today, and I will see you next week on Tuesday around noon. Bye.